All right, today we're jumping into one of the most famous thought experiments in all of philosophy, Mary's room.
So let's just get right into it. Think about this. Could you literally know everything there is to know about a topic, all the facts, all the data, and still be missing something really important? That's the big question we're tackling.
Okay, so let's meet the person at the center of all this. Her name is Mary, and her life, well, it's pretty unusual.
So, Mary is this absolutely brilliant scientist, a neuroscientist to be exact. And her entire life's work is focused on one thing, understanding color. We're talking, she knows everything. She's read every book, every paper. If there's a physical fact about how we see color, she knows it.
But, and this is a huge but, she's never actually seen color. Not once. Her entire life has been spent in a totally black and white room. She learns from black and white books, and she sees the outside world on a black and white monitor. So she's this walking encyclopedia of color who's never, ever experienced it for herself.
And look, when we say she knows everything, we mean everything. This isn't just, the sky is blue. She knows the exact wavelength of light for red. She knows how that light hits the cone cells in the retina. She can literally map out the whole journey, the electrical signals shooting down the optic nerve, the exact pattern of neural activity that lights up in the brain. She's got the complete physical story, down to the last detail.
But this whole world of black and white theory is about to come crashing down.
So picture this. One day, something goes wrong with her setup. Her black and white screen glitches out, and suddenly, a picture of an apple appears. But it's not gray. It's bright, vibrant red. For the first time in her life, Mary is actually seeing red.
And that brings us to the million-dollar question. The whole point of this experiment. When she sees that red apple, does she learn anything new? I mean, really think about that.
This is the real conflict, right? On the one hand, she already knew every single physical fact there was to know. But on the other hand, she just had a brand new experience. Is that experience, that feeling of seeing red, is that a new piece of knowledge?
Well, that one simple question opens up a huge can of worms, and it's called the knowledge argument.
Yeah, this wasn't just some random brain teaser. A philosopher named Frank Jackson came up with it back in 1982, and he designed it specifically to attack a really big idea about how the world works.
And that big idea is called physicalism. It's basically the theory that everything, and I mean everything in the universe, can be explained by physical stuff. Rocks, stars, your own thoughts, your feelings. It's all just physics and chemistry at the end of the day. There's nothing else to it.
So Jackson's argument was actually pretty straightforward. He said, look, if Mary already knew all the physical facts, and then she learned something new just by seeing red, well, that new thing can't be physical, can it? It has to be something non-physical. And if that's true, then physicalism can't be the whole story.
This something new has a fancy philosophy name, qualia. It sounds complicated, but it's really just the what it's like part of an experience. It's the difference between reading a textbook definition of pain and actually feeling pain.
Exactly. Think about it. We can describe the science behind an itch all day long, but that doesn't capture that awful, annoying feeling of needing to scratch, or what it's like to be in love, or even just bored. All those subjective, personal feelings, that's qualia. It's the inner movie that only you get to see.
But hold on. The story is far from over, because the physicalists, the people who believe everything is physical, they fired back. And this story has a twist you probably won't see coming.
So people started poking holes in the argument. Some said, well, if Mary's knowledge was truly complete, she'd be so smart she could just figure out what seeing red would be like in her head. Others argued she doesn't learn a new fact, she just gains a new skill or ability. It's the difference between reading a manual on how to ride a bike and actually knowing how to do it.
But the biggest counterargument, the absolute biggest bombshell, came from Frank Jackson himself. Yeah, the guy who invented Mary's room. Years later, he came out and said, you know what? I was wrong. The whole experiment is flawed.
Basically, he changed his mind. He eventually decided that the aha moment Mary has when she sees red, that experience isn't some magical, non-physical thing. It's just another incredibly complex physical process happening in her brain. It's all still science, just science we don't fully understand yet. So, here's the crazy part. Even though the guy who created it ended up rejecting it, the Mary's room problem is still a huge deal. Why? Because it forces us to confront the biggest mystery of all, consciousness.
I mean, think about AI right now. What if we built a computer that was a perfect copy of a human brain?
neuron for neuron? Would it actually feel anything? Would it have that inner experience, that qualia? Or would it just be an amazing actor, a perfect philosophical zombie with nobody home? Mary's room is right at the heart of that entire question.
And it makes you wonder about what we can even know. Can you ever truly understand what it's like to be someone else, or even what it's like to be a bat for that matter, just by reading about it? Or are there some truths you can only ever get through your own personal experience?
And that's really the big mind-bending takeaway from all this. If something as basic as our own experience is this mysterious and hard to explain, what else is out there? Could there be parts of the universe that are just permanently beyond our ability to understand? Maybe the biggest mystery isn't somewhere out in deep space, but right here, inside our own minds. And that's something to chew on.